All right, here we go. El Salvador and Cuba just moments away from kick. Again, Concacaf U17 Championships. I'm Maura Sheridan, glad to have you along with us. As you see in red right there, that's Cuba. El Salvador will wear blue today. Again, two teams fighting for positioning. Already know that they are moving on to the round of 16. So there's 4 groups, and the top 3 teams in each group moves on. So basically, the key is not to be a cellar dweller. Here is the starting lineup for Venezuela. Sanchez is the captain again, and they've made a change in net. Venezuela is going to be the starting keeper today. Prior, for El Salvador, it was Alexander Jimenez. Referee today is Deanne. As you see, Cecile Hinz as well will join. Jessica Morales and Vanessa Soto are the referees as we got the coin toss here. See, the captain for Cuba is their keeper in Chalia Hernandez. She was in last time around, in which Cuba, a very nice performance and a victory over Guatemala. Final score was 2-0, and obviously Hernandez picked up that clean sheet. So a loss for Cuba and a win for Cuba. Loss was to Haiti, as again you see Hernandez is the captain today. Janelle Aguilera and Jennifer Aguilera are 2 kind of key pieces to what Cuba's trying to do, but the big player to watch out for is number 9, Montalvo. Montalvo had one of the goals for Cuba in that victory over Guatemala. And that solidified basically that Guatemala is in a tough position to move on. Also considering the fact that Guatemala has 1 more game today. They'll take on Haiti, but Haiti's loss to El Salvador was well fought. So on paper, you would think that Guatemala would be the team that will not make it from this group. But you never know. It's Concacaf U17 Women's Championship. These are amateur players, and of course, anything can happen in a single match. This will wrap things up here in this 4 o'clock Eastern time window. This group will be done, and then we'll have 1 more group that's made up of the Dominican Republic, Bermuda, Canada, and Jamaica. Those games are later tonight, and then officially the round of 16 will be set in the Concacaf U17 Championship. Round of 16 starts pretty much immediately this weekend, so not too much time to think about it. As again, you see the referee in Hinz get things started. Aguilera already facing some early pressure here for Cuba. Again, Cuba in red. And in blue, El Salvador. Tap forward, Velasquez gets a little tripped up. And it rolls out, El Salvador will throw it in. Very, very happy to see Carolyn Velasquez in, because in the last game against Haiti, things got a little bit physical at the end, and she got fouled very hard, pushed down from behind. Not the fault of the Cuban player coming in, but because she got pushed from behind, she hit her head right on the knee of a Cuban player coming in for a tackle, and definitely was in a lot of pain, a little shaken up. They had to take her off. Luckily, El Salvador was in a really good spot, as you see Erica Cuna, the El Salvador head coach. But it was a little bit of a scary moment. I'm glad to see she's all right. Again, both of these teams coming off of wins. El Salvador 2-0 over Haiti. Same score for Cuba over Guatemala. El Salvador has not lost so far in the Concacaf U17 Championship. This is the last match for both of these teams. Aguilera pokes it up in the air. Fight for it. Ledesma, number 7 there for Cuba, is a big part of what they are trying to do offensively. She had one of the goals, along with Montalvo, in that victory over Guatemala. Velasquez tries to penetrate the 18. Aguilera with the boot out. Vargas for Cuba getting the start today. Came in as a reserve against Guatemala. Montalvo out to the right wing, leading pass. There's just a couple changes for both teams. Otherwise, kept a lot the same from their victories. If it's working, I guess, why would you mix it up? Velasquez. Jennifer Aguilera swipes it right back for Cuba. Montalvo in the middle of the field. Two defenders swarm. Sanchez. Here's a chance for El Salvador. A breakaway, a shot, and just off the left post. What a great look. Arevalo had a goal against Haiti. It was a second strike for El Salvador, and she gets a really good look there. Velasquez in the 18. You can hear El Salvador's coach Acuna telling them to cross, as again just a bit of a miscommunication there from the Cuban defense. Arevalo got lost in the shuffle, was able to take off. Great idea, great placement. Trying to sneak it in. Low post, just goes off. Missed opportunity for El Salvador to take the lead. Oh, we're just a couple of minutes into this one. Back the other way again. Eager for goal number 2 is Arevalo. Velasquez swerves through. Nice tackle put on by Aguilera. And a foul is called. Chanel Aguilera in the middle. Off to the right wing, intercepted. Sanchez, captain here for El Salvador, in the circle. Anika Berger had a goal for El Salvador as a first strike, and that one just sails over the top of the net off the foot of Arevalo. So we're seeing some aggressive play from her early in this one. She kind of came alive in the second half. Her goal against Haiti was in the 59th minute. Diaz, Aguilera. Montalvo can't control. Odalise for Cuba. El Salvador also played Guatemala already. Of course, everyone's played everyone at this point. That was a very decisive victory. Final score 6-0. Just started scoring pretty much right away and didn't stop scoring until the 89th minute. Cuba lone losses to Haiti, 2-0. That was on Sunday. A little bouncer back to El Salvador's keeper, Valenzuela. Here's another chance. Arevalo, earns a corner kick. They must like something about that matchup, or maybe she's just faster than I remembered. But she's had a lot of near breakouts, and one true one when it just bounced off the post. Hernandez gets set in net for Cuba. Here's a corner kick, first set piece we've seen so far. Lofted in towards the back post, headed down. And a nice save there on the back post by Martinez for Cuba. Serena Villa came up to take that. We'll have another corner for El Salvador. If you're Acuna, you like the execution of that one. That was pretty good. All right, we'll do it again. This one a little short, coming in, and it goes wide. Ayala, Carolina Ayala, who we just saw for a heartbeat, wears number 7 for El Salvador, and she's got a lot of unsung hero vibes. She will kind of start the build-up for El Salvador. Her and Sanchez do a really good job of that. And on the goal that was scored by Arevalo in that last match, it was Ayala who kind of kicked things off, started everything. Actually, it went Sanchez, Ayala, Arevalo. And it was just a great sequence of events to lead to that score, and that's really what kind of put Haiti away. Haiti had a goal called back in that game, and it was a little confusing at first. It seemed like for most of the first half that Haiti was leading, and then it was announced that it was called back. So it was just kind of heartbreaking for them, and once El Salvador scored the second time, that's kind of it. Arevalo in the middle with Cuba for a second. Villa, long ball. Robert there for Cuba. Ledesma dumps it to Aguilera, and that one off the head of Vargas. I thought Vargas provided a nice little jolt of energy when she entered as a reserve for Cuba against Guatemala. Again, kind of already had that game in the bag. It was interesting. Cuba's offense was just really strong for like 10 minutes. Not to say that, they didn't play a solid 90 minutes, but it really just came down to 2 goals at the end of the first half. Here's a chance, Velasquez in the 6. Shot and a beautiful save. Point blank, Hernandez is able to get in front of that one. Arevalo, though, continues the pressure. Those 2 going head to head. Forward and keeper. Velasquez, nice touch off the right foot, and Hernandez just denies. El Salvador looking to go right back at it. Cuba with the quick clearance. Rosinos gets in front. Villa. Sanchez. Velasquez. Head-to-head with Robert. Velasquez for El Salvador wants to move quickly. Ooh, there's a little shove from Aguilera. This is going to be a nice position on a free kick for El Salvador. And if you're Cuba, you just don't want to get frustrated like that. No need. A goal, just kind of directing traffic right now for Cuba as they look to defend this free kick. Amy Angel will come up to take it. Tries a cross. Nice foot there. Odalise got in front of that. Ooh, runs right into the referee and Hinz. Hinz out of Trinidad and Tobago. We've had a lot of solid, refs in this Concacaf U17 championship. Nothing has gotten out of hand. There hasn't been any, egregious moments or anything like that. It's been consistent. Now she's having El Salvador take this right in the circle. Vargas will defend as Villa surveys for an opening. All the way in the 18. Arevalo tries to get there. Pinto boots it out. Aguilera. No call there. Ayala. So a little hip check there, and you can hear Acuna telling her to connect Ayala. Acuna's quite vocal, so you can kind of hear how he coaches very clearly. Again, this is a team looking to win the group right now. Ayala runs right into the defense. Vargas tumbles. Sanchez wins it back for El Salvador. Angel looks left. Berger Aguilera. Backtracks. Ledesma. Diaz. Odalise. Ayala left flank. Out on Martinez. Martinez basically stopped a goal. It was a good opportunity for El Salvador off a corner. And I don't know, it might have bounced wide anyway, but she was able to get there on the back post in the perfect spot and ended up kicking it out for another corner. Right on that goal line. Angel. Aguilera back with El Salvador. Set forward. El Salvador goes all the way back to their keeper in Venezuela. No score yet between Cuba and El Salvador. Again, for all the talk in the Concacaf U17 about the United States, about Canada, about Mexico, El Salvador has a great chance to win this group here, and that would make them a top 4 seed. As we move on to the knockout rounds, of course, anything can happen there. And if El Salvador wins this group, then they will go on to play a team that already qualified through a separate tournament. And so the thing that stinks about those small countries that didn't have to play in this group stage means that they will get the toughest matches to start the knockout round. So those countries are Guyana, Honduras, Curacao, and St. Kitts and Nevis. Villafan bounces off the head of Diaz. Move up a couple yards to do it again. Villafan with the cross. Ayala set that right into Aguilera's face. That's Jennifer Aguilera. Villa. Martinez can't connect on a pass. Sanchez right there. Working from the back, El Salvador with some time. Valo gets tripped up. Just fell up, I think, by her own. Just got tangled up her own feet. I don't think she got tripped or anything. Villafan with her left foot. Controlled. Ayala. Angel. She's got some green. A weak pass there and a nice interception for Cuba. Stops the run of play. But El Salvador just keeps booting it back into the attacking third. Valo takes a shot and it bounces wide. Hernandez tracking. There's another shot from distance. Hernandez cuts it off. Again, of course, Concacaf U17 Championship did not take place in 2020 because of the pandemic. And so now it's back. Hernandez with the grab. The most recent winner in 2018 was the United States. And of course, there's glory in just winning the Concacaf U17. But the top 3 teams, so the 2 teams that make it to the final and the winner of the 3rd place game will move on and qualify for the World Cup at the U17 level. It takes place in India. It takes place later this year. So players down for Cuba. Looks like Chanel Aguilera. It's not the official cooling break. We're going to have one at the 25th minute and 75th minute as well, just because, you know, you saw if you tuned in from the get-go how hot it is in the Dominican Republic right now. And also there's a high chance of rain, which means it's muggy and humid. It's also not like the 7 o'clock games where it's just a little bit cooler because it's nighttime. It's blazing hot right now, so they're going to make sure everyone's hydrated. Aguilera just exited the game. And obviously that plays a huge part in the midfield and what Cuba is trying to accomplish. So we'll see what happens there, if they make a move or not. Aguilera is able to come back. Little bouncer, Hernandez. Two great early looks for El Salvador. Both wide left, one just off the post. And we haven't seen anything quite like it since for either team. '20th minute. Montalvo was very clearly in that win against Guatemala the player that Cuba was looking to get the most touches from, and we haven't heard much of her or heard much from her so far in this one. Sanchez. Cuba, kick there. Vargas fighting for position with Villa. And Vargas commits the foul. Might have hit her hand. Angel looking to work quickly here for El Salvador. Oh, this is actually around the time that El Salvador first got on the board against Haiti the other day. It was the 27th minute, and it was Anika Berger. That would have technically been enough. Although at the time, there was a little bit of a miscommunication, so we thought it was the equalizer, because again, Haiti had that goal called back. But again, Haiti taking on Guatemala right now. And I do think that Haiti should be pretty successful in that game, just based on what we saw from Haiti against El Salvador. Yeah, so Haiti already has a goal. It's 1-0. Arevalo. Again, explosive in the first couple of minutes was Arevalo. And she's at it again, earns a corner. And so Aguilera is going to officially come out. Cynthia Ramirez, or excuse me, Isela Castillo will come in for Cuba. Here's that corner. Loft in, back post. Sanchez got a head on it, but it's quite a bit wide. Udalis. Vargas. Taken away by Sanchez. Plenty of time. Sanchez leaping through the air. Keeps it with El Salvador. That's what I mean. She's very tactically sound, does a lot of the little things extremely well. And obviously what Sanchez does best, I think, is just maintaining possession with El Salvador. You know, turnovers, when it's on her foot, pretty limited. Hopefully I didn't just jinx her there, as Villa just sends one straight towards Hernandez. Crashing in was Ayala. Not there in time. Castillo, new addition. Ooh, just sweeps the leg there. Angel plays it wide. Ayala. Push there of Aguilera. And it's a corner coming for El Salvador. Lofted in the air, Hernandez diving for it. Just took out her own defender in Diaz. But a heads-up play there to read that well for the keeper. Vargas trying to make something happen for Cuba there. Disrupted. Udalis. Leading pass there, intercepted. Montalvo. Loses to Sanchez. Sanchez splits the D, up herself. Smart soccer. Ayala. Starts, stops. Service in, nobody home. Hernandez covering. And they've put pressure on her for sure. And the best looks were pretty much immediate for El Salvador, but the most recent, she's been able to cover well. And they haven't had numbers, El Salvador, just kind of quick shots from pretty far out. Ayala, off her knee. And a foul goes against El Salvador, so Cuba back at the midfield line will take it. It's Martinez.
Échate para atrás, no impulso. Y hay que ponerla ahí, Arru.
Here's a chance off that free kick for El Salvador. Odalis says, no, it's mine. A denial. This took out Ayala. Clean. Gets back with El Salvador. Moments like that for Cuba, I mean, done a decent job of, winning the ball back, but then it's like a bit of a frazzled response on those passes. Both teams just trying to settle into this game. And remember, Cuba found their footing at the end of the first half with a stoppage time goal from Montalvo. We'll count them out in that respect. Throw and bounces to Vargas. Diaz. Sanchez. Diaz again. Serena Villa will take this. A couple yards in front of that halfway mark. Rainbow through the air in the 18. Sanchez running for it. And Martinez sends it out for a corner. Now El Salvador with another chance. Corner kick. Had some of the best scoring chances off these in this first half. We'll see what they do this time. Ayala will take it. Here it comes, it's low. Odalise gets ahead on it. Now in the 6, in the air, near the crossbar. Keeper gets it. That's shot number 6 in this half for El Salvador. Cuba does not have a single shot yet. And that was corner kick 4 as well for El Salvador. No corners for Cuba. Ledesma, again, her and Montalvo were the 2 goal scorers and the ones kind of dominating against Guatemala, and they haven't been able to control as much. They haven't possessed as much, Cuba, first of all. But the intended passes to that pair haven't been successful quite yet. Diaz with the throw intended for Ledesma. Villafan gets there for El Salvador, keeps it in. Berger, one tap. Villa. That's a handball, just went straight off the arm of Castillo, the only sub we've seen. Again, came in when Chanel Aguilera got injured. All the way in the 18, Sanchez taps it, and oh my goodness. Split second, got there with her fingertips, Ms. Hernandez. Didn't even see her arms reach down to grab that. But good thing she did, because you know who's charging in, Arevalo. She's been desperate for a goal. And Sanchez, great decision making there. And an even better read by the keeper for Cuba, who's really been keeping them in this game right now. Villa again from the back, all the way to the net. And good thing she has those long arms, Hernandez. Picks it up at the goal line. That's pretty nice. Wow, that was placed well too. A couple inches higher, and that is a goal from very deep. Past a half an hour mark, so we'll have a sub come in for El Salvador already. Berger will come out, and they will send in Cynthia Ramirez. So each team already has put a sub in here in the first half. Angel. Acuna slips through his fingers on the touchline.
Apretamos ahí esa que banda. Aprieta esa que banda. Samantha, marca la 13, Samantha. Yaremi, más arriba. A esa.
Angel. Ayala. Nearly there to Velasquez. Trying to keep it in the attacking third. Ayala. Pino knocked it loose for a heartbeat. Velasquez charging in. Jennifer Aguilera sends it out, but again, it's just ping-ponging back to El Salvador. Ayala, Velasquez, up the left side in the 18. Aguilera sends it out of trouble. Velasquez. Aguilera's done a great job on her, as you see a foul who's going to go against Velasquez with that tackle. And Aguilera's really frustrated her. See? Oops, no ball there. Only leg.
Mira, la pelota va a pasar, número 7. Número 7, la pelota va a pasar. Más arriba, Ignachi. Sammy, córrete un poquito para allá, te va a sacar Yesela, córrete para allá. Ven, Sammy, ven. ¡Vamos!
Sanchez. Off Robert. Still battling for it with Montalvo. Puts on a tackle, and Sanchez still retains it. That's what I mean. Very impressive player. And she's probably not going to be the goal scorer, but one of the most important players on the pitch right now. Ramirez draws a corner. Goes off of Robert. Seems like she's in a little bit of pain after that one. Might have got just knocked in the hand with a knee. Hinz is calling for the training staff to come out to help Robert. Let's see. Yeah, could have just been some knee-to-knee contact there. You hate to see it.
Están demasiado separadas la línea delantera con la media, demasiado separadas, Amy. Generen más bloques, están muy separadas entre las delanteras y ustedes.
Robert will have to exit, get some water, and it is going to still be a corner kick, though, for El Salvador, as Aguilera and her keeper Hernandez get prepared. Ayala soaring through, headed over the crossbar. Villa coming up from that back line on the set piece.
No vaya muy atrás, afuera. Ahí está. Yaremi está de central ahora. Está de central ahora, sí, Yaremi. ¡Ciérrate que va a jugar largo! ¡Ahora!
Player down for Cuba. Looks like Ledesma's having trouble getting up. And that would be a crucial loss for Cuba.
Mía, no estás apareciendo. Caroline va y vos te quedas al centro esperando que ella resuelva.
Again, remember, it's scorching hot, late afternoon. It's always the worst time. So some of these could just be cramps and overheating a little bit. I mean, got clipped there. That's more than a cramp. Oh, just a little shaken up there is Ledesma. It is still going to be with Cuba, as Angel was the one there, as you see Hernandez, who right now has weathered the storm. El Salvador's inundated her with shots, and yet she hasn't budged, hasn't broken yet. I'm sure she would like the Cuban attack to get a little stronger in the second half. I'm sure there'll be adjustments for both teams. Velasquez.
Come on!
Mira, allí por está la dos, tírasela para arriba la dos. True, entre las dos.
Castilla for Cuba as we track towards the end of this first half. Bit of a low look. Hops through though. Vargas turns, squares. Two defenders right there. Slips through. Arevalo off to the races. Velasquez, the tap. Misplayed. 2v1, and yet Cuba survives again. Still no score between Cuba and El Salvador here in the first half. Concacaf U17 Championship. Both teams will move on to the knockout round regardless, but it's very important seeding-wise. to come out with a victory. Villa, Vargas going head-to-head. Risky there by Valenzuela, but she gets a foot on it, sends it towards the midfield. Bounce around. Angel. Sanchez. Velasquez looking to not go off sides. Here's a chance, and Hernandez off the back of Aravalo's shoe is able to make the save. Ayala from deep. Off wide. Hernandez will watch it roll. So 7 shots now for El Salvador. Cuba does not have a shot still. And this is the danger zone for both teams. Sanchez skirts a couple defenders, and then Roberts cuts her off. Odalise. Vargas. Swipe by Villa. Left flank, Ayala. Shifts directions. Backwards pass. Angel in the center. Taps it. Once again, Hernandez all over it. Here's a chance, Velasquez against Diaz. Velasquez gets the touch up the right side. Weak shot. Robert was there to help out. Made that angle tough. Sanchez, left, Ayala whiffs. A couple of players down. Sanchez just keeps on going, takes a shot herself, and she scores! Victoria Sanchez, late in the first half, El Salvador up 1-0. Well, the captain might have heard what I said about she might not always be the one to score. She got one of her own, a key part of the midfield there for El Salvador, who takes a lead. Look at this, just doesn't give up on the play. No foul was called. I think Cuba thought the play was dead, and she just keeps on going into the 18, perfectly placed. And the captain does it all herself for El Salvador. Up 1-0. Cuba looking for the counter as Ledesma gets tangled up. She's back after exiting with a quick, brief injury. Angel. Free kick coming. Ledesma draws the foul. Cuba will get a look searching for that equalizer here in the first half. Angel does not agree with Hin's decision as Vargas head-to-head with Villa back towards the 18. Cuba does not have a shot yet here in the first half. Valenzuela ready in goal.
Mira, por ahí porque está Ru, por ahí, por arriba la cabeza, Ru, canta para ahí, Ru, Ru, canta ahí, Ru, córrete, córrete. Ahí, mira, ahí, por encima, Ru, por encima, Ru.
Ledesma, service in. Villa heads it down for El Salvador. Ledesma with the pickup. Look at all those blue jerseys around her. Falls down, play on. Diaz. Robert. Aguilera up the middle. Martinez now for Cuba. Montalvo. One touch in the circle of Vargas. And another warning against Amy Angel.
Ábrate, Dalia, deja eso. Mira, mírame. Ve pa' aquí. Dalia, Dalia, mira. Y afuera hacia adentro.
So again, just minutes left here, plus a little bit of stoppage time.
Mira.
I would assume because there's some injuries that happened earlier in this
Córrete
first
para allá y
half.
tira hacia la Dalia. Te va a ser difícil tirarla así.
All the way in the 18. It was Sanchez who got ahead on that, knocked it out wide. Now centered, Velasquez. Villafan. Ayala charging in. Hernandez there. Sanchez wins for a second, keeps going. Again, she's just the type of player that's just going to keep playing through everything. Diaz doesn't need to get there. Hernandez beats her out. Angel.
Venga, Melanie, venga, Melanie.
I mean, Cuba just really hasn't been in the attacking third much, if at all, in this first half. And haven't had many, if any, that's a more advanced stat, touches in the box. No corners yet. Shows you how little time has been spent for Cuba with possession. Velasquez. Ledesma. Can't handle Velasquez. Who's going to get there first? And Hernandez, a keeper, just barely. Rolled out Diaz. As we just had a minute of stoppage time, and that will do it here for the first half of action. Concacaf U17 Women's Championship. El Salvador, thanks to their captain, Victoria Sanchez, leads 1-0 over Cuba as we wrap up the final match on this group side in the group stage before we move on to the knockout round. 45 minutes to go. We'll have highlights soon. Back after this. Concacaf Women's Under-17 Championship, Cuba, El Salvador. Here are the first half highlights, and boy, oh boy, El Salvador with a great look to start. This is right away, as you see, Arevalo hit that left post, so close. El Salvador coming back the other way again. Who is it again? Arevalo. It's point blank though. Hernandez reads that well. Dive in and make the save. Hernandez was stellar for Cuba in that first half. Another leaping grab from who else? Hernandez. And here comes El Salvador again, trekking into that 18. Little tap there from, you guessed it, Arevalo. She had more shots than anybody in this game. But then here comes Victoria Sanchez. Just keeps on going. It initially seemed like maybe there was going to be a foul called, but there wasn't. She just played through it, no whistle, and she hits the shot. Beautifully placed, pretty far out. Step inside that 18, and I love the corner look. The captain getting some love from the rest of her team, as that was the first half. It was really all El Salvador, up 1-0. Seemingly, it could be a much different score. Look at the shots, 17-1. So finally, Cuba got one final shot at the end of that first half. But yeah, it's just been a dominant performance by El Salvador so far. We'll see if things open up even more in the second half, or maybe Cuba against the run of play will switch things up here in the second. We will have the final 45 minutes in the group stage for El Salvador and Cuba in just a few.
Vamos ya, vamos, vamos.
Welcome back. Start of the second half, Cuba and El Salvador here in the Concacaf U17 Women's Championship. It's a 1-0 lead for El Salvador. Honestly, with the shot difference, thought it would be a larger lead. El Salvador, from the get-go, put a lot of pressure on Hernandez in goal for Cuba, and yet she only wavered the one time. Victoria Sanchez has the lone score in this one for El Salvador. We'll see if it's enough or if there needs to be some more scoring to secure a victory. Cuba has one shot, and it's not on target in this game. That will need to change, absolutely, down a goal here, as the main person shooting, even though she doesn't have a goal, is Arevalo for El Salvador. She's going to start with it in the midfield. And again, she's thirsty for a goal. See if she gets it.
¡Muévete, Dalia! Yaremi, comprímela.
El Salvador in blue, if you're just tuning in, and Cuba is in red. Just waiting for the okay to start the second half here. By the way, Haiti and Guatemala are the other game going on at the same time. This will wrap up the group, and Haiti is up 1-0. Scored very early, and we haven't seen any scoring since on that game. In this game, same thing. El Salvador scored, and Sanchez towards the end of that first half. It was in the 40th minute, and we haven't seen anything else. Near miss after near miss, though, for El Salvador. We'll bounce her back to Hernandez.
Por dentro, Sheila. Sheila, corre fuerte, por dentro. Cuídala, Ru, cuídala. Cógela, cógela, cógela. Sí, sí. Sheila, yo soy control, mamá.
Montalvo is being marked well in this game for Cuba. She was able to break loose a couple of times, including to score a goal against Guatemala. And, I mean, really, her touches have been limited in this first half. We'll see if that changes. Castillo for Cuba puts it towards the 18. Angel heads it down, and a trip is going to be called. Arevalo and Velasquez, playing up top. We're all over the place, haven't scored, and I'm wondering if they'll stay in for the length of the game or if they'll be subbed out, just because, you saw Arevalo back there playing defense, and they've just had a lot of moments going full speed ahead. So they're gonna be pretty exhausted. And at this level, you might see someone subbed out. Actually, I mean, to be honest, at any level, just with the amount of looks and possession time that El Salvador has had. As you see, Arevalo, there she goes again. So I would think that if, halfway through this first half, the pair of them look a little gassed, then El Salvador might go to some of the reserves.
Dalia, está improvisando, pero vamos a orientarlo. Ahora ve corriéndote para allá, que ruba para allá.
Arevalo again in the air. Hernandez comes out one-handed. To the side of the 18, Hernandez dives and covers. So there's been a battle brewing, and it's a two-parter. It's Jennifer Aguilera at the center back spot, and Velasquez or Arevalo, just depends on who's up there. And then it's when that doesn't work, then it goes Hernandez and Arevalo.
Ahí, venga, Ignacio. Se va. Mira, oye, sigue noble que te van a matar. Mira, llega aquí a la línea, mija. Llega ahí en línea con la defensa y corre para arriba la pelota. Mira, Yesela, tírasela ahí para ese espacio.
Montalvo head-to-head with Angel, who controls for El Salvador, bounced around. Odalise in the 18. Valenzuela, who really hasn't seen much besides that one off-target shot from Cuba towards the midfield. Again, so because Haiti and Guatemala are playing as well, we'll know the final positions for this group by the end of this match. Well, maybe not exactly by the end because they're a little behind us, Haiti and Guatemala. Here's a chance. Roberts crashes in, a corner coming for El Salvador. As Medina, who was subbed in for Velasquez, already making some noise on El Salvador's end. All right, so a corner. Ayala. No corners yet for Cuba, by the way. This is 5 for El Salvador. Misses for everyone there, and then Montalvo gets trucked, and so Cuba will get to take it out. All right, here comes Cuba. Vargas. What a play, Valenzuela. In games like this, to get a win, sometimes you need your keeper to make one really big save, and Valenzuela takes the risk, gets rewarded. 1v1 is obviously always the advantage of the offensive player. Vargas wants another crack at it. But if you're Cuba, you gotta feel good about, you know, just finding the seams a little bit better here in the second half. Vargas. Tapped in the 18. Montalvo gets a great look. Cut off. And this will be the first corner for Cuba. The set pieces in close range have been extremely limited. Even free position shots have just not really been there. Montalvo trying to get a shot off. She does, and it's over the crossbar. Ooh, Cuba looks a lot better here in the second half, searching for that equalizer. Medina. Looks like Medina's shaken up. Step inside that 18. Here's a chance. Ayala plays it, takes a shot, and she scores. Carolina Ayala makes it 2-0 El Salvador. Just when it looked like Cuba might be on the brink of an equalizer, Ayala doubles this lead. Good service in. Great shot. And also, by the way, there was multiple opportunities here. Ayala doesn't need help because she buried it, but Arevalo was streaking in on that back post to finish the job if necessary. It's 2-0. Scored in the 53rd minute there. So, again, goals from Sanchez and Ayala. Again, El Salvador's first game against Guatemala really just broke out to have a solid start to finish 90 minutes. Final score 6-0, and then beating Haiti 2-0 means that they haven't given up a goal yet. Here's another chance. Aguilera gets that first step, but it is going to be a corner kick for El Salvador. And I will say with El Salvador, not to say that their backline isn't good, it is, but I think their midfielders and their forwards do such a great job of tackling that it rarely gets out of the attacking third. Lofted in, here's a chance. Sanchez through the air, just took a defender out. A foul, but it's one of those plays that happens when you're both going head to head. There is still an injury on the other end for Cuba, so that's why we'll have this whistle. Not sure exactly, but I think it was, oh yeah, it looks like there. For Cuba, Franco, who was their captain in the last game, is down right now. Training staff coming out. Lynette Franco. Yeah, just took a blow to the head, head-to-head contact there. Sanchez appears fine, but Franco is not all right. To see Sanchez there right now. Has a first goal for El Salvador in that first half. Minutes were winding down.
Párate en 16:50.
We're heading towards stoppage time.
Párate en 16:50.
Seemed like we were going to go in with an even score, and El Salvador and their captain take the lead.
Mira, y el next.
Just got another one.
Ya está Rubén.
Carolina Ayala. It's 2-0 El Salvador. Again, nobody has scored off of El Salvador yet.
Por dentro, Yanek, que el tercera va a sacar.
Mexico is through their 3 matches, did not give up a score. The United States through, just double checking, I did not do their game yesterday, through 3 did not give up a goal either. And then Canada, who's not done, they'll play tonight. Canada's in first right now. Here's a chance. Sanchez wants the brace in the 6. Takes a hop a little too far wide, and Aguilera boots it out of trouble. Not a corner, but a close throw-in. Angel towards the 6. Off the bounce, and it's buried. Second chance, and finally, Arevalo with a score. Mia Arevalo gets the rebound, finishes El Salvador up 3-0 in a matter of minutes. Added some more cushion here. Yep, off Hernandez right there. Cleans up the mess. And she's been so close a number of times. Deservedly gets a score here. Sanchez created some chaos. Yeah, just an awkward moment there. Got lost in the shuffle by the defense, did Arevalo. And it's 3-0, El Salvador just extending their lead. But yeah, Canada has not given up a goal yet. That might change because Canada has a really tough match coming up tonight. There's 2 teams that are undefeated in their group, and it's Canada and Jamaica, and they'll go head-to-head tonight. And that will decide who wins the group. It's going to be right here on this pitch, San Cristobal, Dominican Republic. Sanchez up the middle. Franco's back in. I think El Salvador fans wanted a handball. Villa, Valenzuela. So it looks like that Haiti-Guatemala game is still close, 1-0. I wouldn't have guessed it just based on the way Haiti played El Salvador. It seems like they're maybe struggling to score. Again, remember, Bermuda and the Dominican Republic also playing at 7 o'clock Eastern time tonight. And the loser of that, if there is one, is out. And I believe that the Dominican Republic has the tiebreaker in that. So the top 2 teams and the bottom 2 teams in that group just happen to match up in the finale of the group stage. Ayala leading pass. Can't get her second one there. Arevalo still dominant. Angel. Ayala wide. Aguilera. Boxes are out. Possession Cuba. there's things to consider as Medina runs in. Hernandez there first. Things to consider is Haiti's up 1-0. You know, don't count Guatemala out. If Guatemala wins, then that starts, and Cuba loses. Franco, Hernandez, tag team. Then that starts to, we get into tiebreaker territory there with who's in and who's out to move on to the round of 16. So that would mean that it's really crucial for Cuba to not keep giving up goals. Guatemala gave up 6, remember, to El Salvador. So that does leave some wiggle room for Cuba here. But if they, you know, just keep allowing El Salvador to score, what I'm trying to say is there's a world in which Cuba does not make it based on what happens in that other game. So it's pretty crucial that this stays relatively close. And obviously they also need Guatemala to lose that game. And 1-0 down to Haiti. You never know. Aravalo in the 18 off a cross. Ayala centers. Angel lets it rip. Deflects off a center back there. Ayala stays with it out wide. She wants a corner. Say it's off her. Once again, Hernandez snags. Nifty move. Can't connect. Castillo. All the way back to Diaz. On her tail for El Salvador. Substitute Cynthia Ramirez. Sanchez flicks it. Ayala, left wing, cuts through, takes a shot. That one had some nice curl to it at the end. Hernandez on the back post, balls it in. Angel. Sanchez, Odalise, Cuba, trying to get the long ball started for Vargas. Villa sends it back the other way. Medina won't give up. Angel, plenty of time. In the 18, headed out by Franco Sanchez. Foul, great spot for a free position here as Robert is going to be given a yellow card. Let's see. Yeah, although she bent her knee a little strangely in the process. Fouls. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the Haiti game right now. It's 1-0. Again, Haiti up. And the shots so far in that game, I just wanted to see how close it was. Very even, 6-3. There hasn't been a lot of shots, it seems. I remember the knockout round of 16, starts this weekend. This tournament will be wrapped by May 8th. And so by the final in the third place game, we'll know who's coming out of this Concacaf U17 championship and playing in the World Cup in India at the U17 level. So those finals games are on Mother's Day, May 8th, and that third place game too. Let's take another look at this, just a crunch, yes.
Reaccionar, Carolina. Hey, hey, you two outside of the incidents, come inside.
Sanchez plays it again, gets tripped. This time she gets tripped by Montalvo. Looks like some subs will come in from Cuba when we have a chance. Jennifer Cordero will check in. Preparing for this free kick, though. Sanchez right into the wall. That's why you have it set up that way. All right, we'll do it again. Farther in the corner here for El Salvador. Oh, I guess it's Cuba. Nice little fake out, though, by Hilly Hernandez for El Salvador. Got everyone fooled for a second. That was not a successful throw-in. Went out. Here are the goals for El Salvador. Sanchez, Arevalo, and Ayala. 2 in the second half, 1 in the first. Again, Cordero's going to come in. Montalvo comes out. By the way, Haiti, it appears, just scored. So they've got that lead up to 2 now against Guatemala, which is a good thing for Cuba. Again, it doesn't appear like, just because of that El Salvador 6-0 win, it would be very likely that Cuba would not make it, because they have, at the moment, they have that advantage in goals, difference in goals, but you just never know. So I thought I'd bring it up just in case. Up the ante a little bit in this one. Things have cooled for both teams in the last couple of minutes. El Salvador, of course, up 3-0. It was Cuba who got off to a hot start. A rocket. That's right to Hernandez. Diaz got She's got some strength to that. Yeah, a couple of moments in the attacking third by Cuba, including a corner kick. Start the first half. Left out. Hernandez goes to her right and covers. Arevalo just hasn't run out of gas yet. She's been in this entire game up top, consistently moving. Of course, she had the goal. But her press is, I mean, she has been relentless. And Velasquez got subbed out, but she has not been subbed out. Here's a chance. Venezuela. Again, if you're El Salvador, I mean, obviously, you just want to hold on and make sure everyone's healthy and safe and all that and win this game. But, I mean, the no goals allowed in the group stage, that'd be a pretty impressive thing to pull off.
Samantha, usted está como contención ahora. Ahí arriba, ¿cómo que qué posición?
Sub for Venezuela, Leila Hernandez in the game. Via. So Arevalo exits, and again that is Leila Hernandez in the game for El Salvador. Just wide. She's almost there to tap it in. Might have just jinxed Arevalo talking about how she's played this whole game, but good chance to get her out fresh. Again, not a lot of time off before they play the next round in the knockout round. The way it works at the senior level, and that's because there's obviously professional leagues happening at the same time, and so they can't just take a couple weeks off. But Concacaf, you know, happens in the group stage over the course of a week, and then they take, you know, a month, and then they play the next set of the group stage games, and then they take a couple more months, and then in July they play, if you make it to the final, then they play the 8 teams play in that for a chance to go to the World Cup. So it's just a longer process. Here at the U17 level, it's just one big tournament, and again, by May 8th, by Mother's Day, we'll know who's going to the World Cup in India from this CONCACAF level. Cross. Top of the 18. Desma pushes it out. Villafan reverts back. Rosinos. This defense has been unshakable for El Salvador. Here's a bouncer, a chance off the bench over the crossbar for Hernandez. Got the sports glasses. I used to wear those way back in the day.
No, no, no. Ahora ni lo dudes, no dudes.
Ayala. Hernandez looking to connect with Medina. Franco all over it, but Ayala again just rolling over the field. The intensity for El Salvador in the attacking third has been consistent. Has a free kick coming. Robert commits the foul. It'll be shaded towards the left here for El Salvador as we approach the final 15 minutes or so in this match.
Sammy! Sammy! Samantha!
Right into Hernandez, she punches it out. Vargas. Back in the 18.
Ponte por delante de ella, por dentro. Ahí, prepárate para eso. Cógela. Siga, siga duro. Siga duro.
El Salvador. Out. Cuba back with it.
Más atrás, Cintia. Victoria, más atrás.
So remember, the team's already 100% in this knockout round. Mexico, Panama, Nicaragua, United States, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Grenada, and Trinidad and Tobago out. Going the other way, looking for goal number 4 is Medina on El Salvador. But yeah, so we even know the seeding of that, or we just know how they finished in the group. Mexico 1, Panama 2, Nicaragua 3, United States 1, Costa Rica 2, Puerto Rico 3. And then this one is shaping up to be, if everything stands, El Salvador, Haiti, Cuba, Guatemala out. Because, yeah, like I said, Haiti's up 2-0. It's the 77th minute, so they're about 2 minutes behind us. Here's a corner for El Salvador. Sanchez didn't have the angle on that one.
Llega duro, ¿cómo te vas a parar? A ver, mija, ¿y ahora qué? ¿Por qué te paras?
More subs. Got a lot of these starters out for El Salvador. So coming in is Vanessa Romero. And exiting is Angel, who played in a substantial part of the midfield for El Salvador. Looks like they will be able to walk away with a win today. Hernandez had a very good game in net for Cuba. Held off El Salvador for as long as she could. They didn't score till the 40th minute from Sanchez. And then the floodgates kind of opened here in the second half. But it could easily be way more lopsided than it is. And again, Cuba has not really backed her up in terms of shots on the other end. Let's see what the stats are at the moment.
Correte para allá, mira que van a sacar para allá. Queda las manos a la cintura. No, no te estoy diciendo que la
Sanchez, look at all that space, cut off by Robert. Yeah, so the shots right now 16-1. Cuba just has that one shot at the end of the first half. Almost a costly miss there from Franco off the volley. Closing in was Hernandez, but the other Hernandez, the keeper for Cuba's there. Goal kick here for Cuba. Who again will have a tough match in the knockout round just because they finished third, but important to note, won't match up against a 1 seed, so they won't be playing, you know, the likes of Mexico, United States. They won't play El Salvador again because there's teams already qualified that know for sure that they're playing the top teams to come out of this group stage. That's again Guyana, Honduras, Curacao, and St. Kitts and Nevis. That's just the way it works because those smaller countries played a separate tournament. They get the tough draw to open the knockout round. Haiti just scored again. It is 3-0, by the way, so that's most certainly at the end of the match going to go Haiti's way. Might have the exact same score in this one, which again means one more time Haiti will come in second in the group and El Salvador will win, having not lost and not conceded a goal yet. Still time to do that for sure. Cross. Inner box, Hernandez.
Cerrale Victoria más. Sale una. Vanessa.
Odalis.
Vanessa, tenés que salir, Vanessa.
Swerving through, Hernandez wants a piece of the action. Vargas back for Cuba. Interested to see how much stoppage time we get. We got just a minute in the first half. I don't think we're going to have much more than that here in the second. Hasn't been a lot of stoppages. Vargas. Defense collapses.
Toma tu marca. Sarina más cerca. Vanessa, no estás marcando a nadie. No, no. Cerca.
Medina beat out by Diaz.
Ahí ya tenés el espacio, meterte con potestad y vas.
Again, it's kind of a line change made up on that front line for El Salvador, the waning minutes. So it's Cynthia Ramirez, Brianna Medina, and Layla Hernandez. Here's a corner kick coming, though, for El Salvador. Good for goal number 4 towards the back post. Sanchez heads it out. Vargas. Romero last to touch for El Salvador. Again, all the scoring for El Salvador in this one came early in the second half, and then they were just kind of riding the wave to the end. They did score at the end of the first to make it 1-0 at halftime, and then 2 quick strikes back-to-back within minutes of each other. Arevalo, Ayala, they're both out right now on the bench awaiting a victory celebration, but yeah, since then, it's just kind of been easy going for El Salvador, realizing they're going to win this game. Just trying to, you know, again, keep that clean sheet going. Cuba hasn't really had much of a response. Here they come, though, with that forced turnover. Sanchez had the first goal in this match at the end of the first half. It felt like El Salvador would get there at some point, but I think that was great, that Sanchez goal. Number 1, she just didn't give up on the play. We'll see it in the highlights. But number 2, it just really took the wind out of Cuba's sails going into the halftime break to give up a late goal, you know, when it could have been 0-0 at halftime. It's kind of devastating. Shifted the game for sure. Too far ahead of Sanchez this time around. Hernandez comes up. Approaching stoppage time here.
Come on, Ru!
Three minutes of stoppage time here in this El Salvador-Cuba game. Guess there was some early injuries in Concacaf U17 championship. Looks like Acuna might have knocked down her microphone there. Oh, nice of him to reset it. Gotta get that natural sound. Here is the service in, off her back foot, so close. My goodness for Medina. That would have been one of the goals of the tournament. Looked like she used her heel. Vargas. So again, this group is all but decided. We'll officially know in about a minute and 40 seconds, but actually 20 seconds, I should say. And then the other group, though, is really up in the air. Canada and Jamaica will battle out for who's going to win the group in the 7 o'clock game here at this pitch. And then Dominican Republic and Bermuda will fight to see who gets to stay and who has to go home.
¡Kaira!
Again, Acuna's got to be very pleased with this game. His team will get one final free kick. Sanchez stops to tie her shoe as Cuba gets set. Down 3-0.
¡Yaremi! ¡En línea con la barrera!
Sanchez over the crossbar. Ooh, a rocket there. Looking for that brace. Doesn't get it. And there's a final whistle in this one. El Salvador, 2 second-half goals. And they win the group. 3-0 the final score over Cuba. Both teams are moving on, but El Salvador puts on a show. Pulls out a win. Undefeated El Salvador in the group stage, and by the way, have not conceded a goal. You see all those goals scored, haven't given one up. We'll have highlights to wrap this one up in just a few.
La portera va a ser para Saila. Tú me avisas, Pocho.
Nos encontramos con Amy Ángel de la Selección Nacional de El Salvador. Amy, te vimos correr los 3 partidos, te vimos meterle, te vimos luchar todo el tiempo en medio campo y tu aportación fue importante para no recibir gol en la fase de grupos. ¿Cómo te sientes tú con tu participación?
Me siento muy contenta conmigo y con el equipo, el esfuerzo que todos se hicieron. Y yo creo que podemos seguir adelante. Acabamos de hacer historia. Sí.
Terminaron con 3 victorias, 9 puntos. ¿Qué representa esto para ustedes?
Representando El Salvador.
Muchas gracias, Amy.
De nada.
¿Ahí está bien ella? ¿Ahí está bien ella?
Chayla Hernández de la Selección Nacional de Cuba. Chayla, pues al final un partido muy cerrado, terminan ustedes perdiendo, pero el esfuerzo y la intención de ganar ahí quedó.
Bueno, esfuerzo hubo demasiado, de parte de mí, de parte del equipo completo. Y vamos a seguir esforzándonos con cada equipo que venga. Vamos a seguir luchando y luchando hasta llegar a lo que queremos, llegar a la final.
¿Cómo preparan ustedes el siguiente partido ya en la siguiente ronda? ¿Pensaron ustedes estar en octavos de final?
Sí, lo pensamos y lo seguimos pensando y vamos a seguir y luchando hasta llegar, que nosotros podemos.
¿Qué mejorarías tú en tu equipo para conseguir el próximo partido una victoria?
Yo tengo que seguir mejorando mucho, que todavía me falta, tengo mucho que mejorar, tengo una carrera por delante, pero nada, seguir mejorando y mejorando cada día más.
Muchas gracias.
No, de nada.
Hasta la próxima. Mañana, el sábado va a venir otro conmigo. Que me va a correr el domingo. Sí, para que se vaya educando un poquito.
Highlights, second half, well, full game highlights. We'll start here in the first half, right away, off the post. So close for Alavalo, and she just doesn't get that initial goal. Trust me, we'll hear about her a lot more in the first half. In the second half, she's all over the place. Here she is again, another look, right to Hernandez. Great stop by the keeper there for Cuba, and El Salvador is off to the races. No goal yet, though. There's a great look. Leaping up to make that. Long arms there for Hernandez. That was Villa, by the way. Here comes El Salvador again. Another tap. Arevalo again. Goes right to Hernandez. Sanchez falls down, gets tripped up, keeps on going in the 18. Look at that cross and finish. Victoria Sanchez, the captain today for El Salvador. It's 1-0. This is in the first half at the very end, the 41st minute, and she just buries it. Very happy, thumbs up. Start of the second half, El Salvador starts with the ball, and they look to get things started. Up 1-0, trying to tack on to their lead. Here's a chance, Ayala. Turn squares, plenty of time. A rocket in the 18. Nice little move there. Breaks some ankles, has some players falling down for Cuba. El Salvador up 2-0. Love that Selly. And then El Salvador just not taking their foot off the gas here. Here's a beautiful cross from Angel. Weird rebound, and finally with a goal, Arevalo is there to finish the job. Again, just cut off. Sanchez cut that nicely, so the vision was off for Hernandez, and Arevalo gets on the board, makes it 3-0. She'll exit the game, and now a bunch of substitutes in for El Salvador, and they continue to make some noise. There's a nice little shot from Cynthia Ramirez. Hernandez all over it, covers. She had her work cut out for her on the Cuban side. And yet it's El Salvador that survives. Again, a 3-0 victory. Very happy El Salvador. They win this group. Both teams will move on because Haiti beat Guatemala. So both these teams move on, but El Salvador wins as we see the final stat line. 28-3 shots, 9-1 on target. Cuba gets 1 shot on target in this entire game. It's a dominant performance by El Salvador, and again, the final score is 3-0. We'll have some more matches coming up tonight. And of course, we finished out this group here. So it looks like the final score was the same as ours, Haiti and Guatemala 3-0. So again, that means Haiti moves on, El Salvador wins the group, Cuba also survives, Guatemala is officially out of this group. Everybody else moves on to the round of 16. More matches coming up tonight, and that will decide the final group. As you see the final standings, everyone but Guatemala is in the mix. Glad to see it, as this was a fun one. El Salvador start to finish a very strong game. Cuba will look to regroup as they move on to the knockout round, which starts this weekend, so not a lot of time to think about it. One more time, final score 3-0 El Salvador with a dominant performance over Cuba. Have a great night, everyone.